Thank you, Kristen. Now I think we all can see how you got the big one done. I did want to thank and recognize the Board of Selectmen and the other town officials from Leverett that have been instrumental in making this happen. I was in Leverett recently as they became a green community in celebration, and I have to say that they took great pride in this project and the work that they've done adding to it. So thank you to all of the town officials as well. Rich Hubbard is our next speaker from the Franklin Land Trust, and I've known Rich for a number of years. And I've worked with him on the big ones, but also on the small ones. But they are all thoughtful, they are all important, and they all make a bigger picture of land conservation in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, particularly in Western Massachusetts. So I'd like to call on Rich Hubbard for a few words from Franklin Land Trust.
Nothing like being the last speaker, standing between a crowd and lunch in a very hot tent. But being the last speaker, I don't know how much more really can be said than what has already been said. And I could just really almost just say ditto to Kristen's really wonderful presentation. But I did want to start off by thanking my Director of Land Conservation, Elaine Peteroy, who, after I was involved in this project early on, we did a little tag team with her, and she became one of the gang of five. I think it's the gang of five or six that took this to the finish, and I really appreciate all that she does for our land trust. And I also really wanted to emphasize how much I value the partnerships that were involved in this project. Kristen, Kestrel Land Trust, Open Space Institute, the state and federal partners, everyone who contributed to this project. As Kristen said, it wouldn't have happened without all that work. And while partnerships can make things sometimes really interesting, difficult at times, they also make these types of projects extremely gratifying. I've been doing this work for a long, long time, many more years than I want to count. And I think I've worked with something like 500 landowners over the years in helping them to conserve their land. And there's both as APR program manager for many years and with the Franklin Land Trust, and there's no question in my mind that I'm going to step back at some point and look back on this project as being one of the pinnacles of my work and of all of our work. And it's for two reasons. One, it's obviously it's just the size of this beautiful mountain and its environmental significance. I would argue it almost has global significance when you look at it in the context of all the other conserved land, especially to the east of here with the Quabbin Reservoir and Harvard Forest holdings. I mean, it's really quite remarkable. But I think the other reason I'm going to think of this project in the days ahead a lot is the bigger than life personality of Cinda, and trying to figure out a way to describe her. She's sort of has a combination of unabashed libertarianism with a pugnacious conservationist. And you can see that this morning in her comments. But I will tell you, nobody has a greater passion and love for their land than Cinda. And I think you all know that now. No one could ever question that again. And you and your family have left an amazing legacy for us and for our generations to come. Really, thank you. Also, I wanted to switch gears just briefly here. As I wear the hat of the chairman of the Mass Land Trust Coalition Steering Committee. And so I'd like to switch gears a little bit here and say a few things with that hat on. This state has a long, proud history of public investment in land conservation. And that's really what we're celebrating here today, quite frankly. It's the public's investment in protecting this beautiful resource, Brushy Mountain just being the latest dividend in that effort. But those of us who are in the business are keenly aware of the fact that our success over the years has depended heavily on that investment, and that the support of our friends in the legislature and Congress has been critical to that funding continuing to flow. Unfortunately, sometimes the environment is considered a luxury item during tough economic times, and it's the first thing to take a hit. But we are blessed out here in Western Massachusetts with having the most incredible legislative and congressional delegation that clearly gets it. We don't, it can get a little frustrating sometimes. We don't have any to yell at down in Washington when things aren't going right. Our guys all get it. But I want to thank you all for all that you do to make our work possible. Congressman Olver, through your efforts over the many years in support of land conservation, both in the Mass legislature and Congress, you have left an indelible mark on the rural landscapes of Massachusetts. It's hard to prove a negative, but those of us who are out on the land doing this work know how different this valley and this state would look today if it weren't for your passion and your commitment and hard work and in support of our work. We'll miss having your voice in Washington, and we'll be forever grateful to you. And finally, Governor Patrick. When you came into office, you came with an amazing pledge to fund land conservation at historic levels. And you stood by that pledge through historically difficult financial times. I wish I could take you on an extended field trip around this state and just show you every property, farm, forest, scenic viewshed, park that has been conserved thanks to your commitment and your vision. I think only then could you really fully appreciate the incredible impact that your pledge has had on this beautiful state. Over the years, the land conservation movement in Massachusetts has been through good times and bad times as administrations have come and gone. Since we're in the throes of what is likely to be a very heated presidential campaign, I'm not going to mention when the last low time was for our movement. However, there's no question that you and your administration represents a high water mark. On behalf of the Mass Land Trust Coalition and land trusts across Massachusetts, thank you.